Down 3.5%. I guess they didn't answer that question. They did not answer that question in 2 hours. This is not granted for investors. This is not a meeting for investors. But still, that is what has been dogging the stock.
Not a meeting for investors, but every investor is focused on the meeting. So it is a meeting for investors, and I think you're right. Look, Rubin looks like it's a second half 26 story. I think market probably knew that, number one. Margins didn't come up. Robotics, multi-trillion-dollar industry potentially. So he said all the things about the future and that are exciting, but, I don't think anything that's been concerning investors or traders, I don't think any of those concerns were assuaged. And I continue to think that, they might talk about a reacceleration of margins in the second half. I just don't see it happening. So this move actually makes sense to me.
And this was not a scripted speech, my understanding. So this was a kind of a free-flowing dynamic. And to the extent that you could have just gotten a little bit more into where the new use cases, in other words, moving away from data centers, moving into, there's talk about collaboration with GM on AI, et cetera, et cetera. So the $1 trillion addressable market isn't really new. I think if you look at the stock, from that Jan 7th, at least recent high, it's been making lower lows. So, we're going to talk about some of the other big mega cap tech stocks, but there's nothing on the charts that tell you that this company is in a safe spot. And semis, continue to look like they're vulnerable.
Is Tim playing hurt here, Guy?
Well, that tie would suggest he's playing something. What is that?
It's the voice.
Does it get wider?
Melissa told me she loves this tie. She'd like me to wear it more often.
Is he a little
she's
hoarse?
Laughing, as if that's not what she's saying.
Nay.
The fever's broken in this trade. Let's just be clear here, right? So if this happened a year ago, whatever he said here, with those throngs of people there who were really excited, the stock probably would have been up 5%. We were looking through the options market. The implied move between today, this morning, and Friday's close was about 6% in either direction. Just think about that, okay? So when you think about what's going on here, the expectations, I didn't think they were going to be particularly high. The company just reported a few weeks ago. They obviously didn't say any real big news for this sort of event, and they probably knew that. The one thing I'll just say, there's lots of headlines. When Guy talks about margins not going up in the second half of this year, the information has an article out this morning that Amazon Web Services, they're offering their own chip to cloud customers, same performance as the H100 from Nvidia, but at 25% of the price. This is how any other semi company who's coming into the space, they're going to compete on price, especially if they have the same performance as the last gen sort of chips. So to me, listen, the story's great, okay? They're expected to grow earnings and sales this year 50%, trades at 25 times. Next year, it's supposed to grow 25%, expected, trades at 20 times. So if you're a valuation person and you believe what they're saying, then the stock is cheap here. But if you think that the fever's broken all around, if you think that the economy is going to get weaker, if you think their major customers are going to pull back in their CapEx at some point or diversify away from a single source, then the story is not that attractive right here.
So it doesn't really matter what Jensen Huang says. To play the role of Ms. Silver Linings on this test, and somebody else is not doing that tonight.
Sorry, I missed that.
The fact that there is no new guidance after 3 weeks after reporting earnings, maybe that is a good thing, considering how we have seen confidence drop off a cliff in so many other industries. For him to stick by that forecast, that wasn't enough still.
No, I think you make a good point, right? They have every opportunity to back away. The economy is slowing. Maybe CapEx is not going to be as robust. I think you're right to point it out. But I also think the market's trying to get in front of a potential slowdown and the potential for CapEx not to be as robust as things, as many of these stocks have priced in. I think that's sort of the rub right now.